Yeah, and you know what I also see, as far as Cindy, as far as the schooling is concerned, you needed that break. I think Kayla just said that you should give yourself that time to play and enjoy a little bit, which is I think what she was picking up on there. Um, but you also needed to take that break because you would hit kind of roadblock, okay, where you were feeling, and again, I'm just rephrasing some of the things Kayla said here, that you're pushing yourself into too many different directions. Um, and you needed that break so that you could pull back and kind of reorganize it and become less stressed out by it. I see finances as an issue here. And I don't know if that's because you're having issues trying to figure out how to come up with the money for the classes or the student aid or whatever. But my guides are saying that once you prioritize and you organize and you systemize what you're dealing with, you're going to be able to set the path correct as far as being able to get the right finances for everything that you want to do. I feel very good about this. I think that when you get that graduate program under your belt, you are going to be worth a whole lot more in the job market. It's going to make that kind of a difference. So it's worth a little bit of a sacrifice now to have that benefit later on. Okay?
Okay.
Even though it's frustrating in the now. Sacrifice, it's always irritating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do feel though, within, and time is always difficult on spirit side to say. I'm going to say 3 to 4 years. That's the best I can pinpoint it right now. I think you're going to get a job offer though to move. It feels more like Washington D.C. or the Maryland area around there, that you will get an offer, and you'll have to decide whether that's right for you if you want to. But I think it would be very good for you if you take it.
Wow.
Okay.
I agree. Absolutely agree. Yeah. And, right now I don't, and I hope I'm not going to cause any trouble with this statement, but I feel like you're not getting a lot of support from on the home front for what you're doing with your education. But if you follow this path, not only will you get that job opportunity, but all of a sudden you're going to be in a situation where you're getting full support, where things really come together. So you've got some important decisions to make. I usually tell my clients to use your head to figure out how to carry out a decision, but use your gut, not your emotion, but your gut, your intuition, your feeling nature, to be able to make the decision, because that never lies. If you make a decision that's right for you, you get this enormous burst of yes. Okay, if you're making a decision that doesn't feel right for you, there's this feeling of, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? I don't know. I.e., you just don't have that wow feeling inside. So let your feelings be the guidepost, and then let your mind figure out how to do it.
Okay.
Okay?
Sandy, you are so right on. I just have to say I agree so much with Sandy, because you're very intelligent, but this is a point of stepping out of that and going, like Sandy said, with your gut feelings and opening up to that, which is something that you haven't always trusted in the past.
Mhm.
And you're very good with logic and intelligent, highly intelligent, but this is the time to go with that gut, that intuition, whatever you want to call it. I couldn't agree more with Sandy.
Yeah, and I do think Kayla is right. One way or the other, you're going to move out of Pennsylvania. Um, and I also think that after that move, and that could be, I'm feeling it might even be sooner than what she thinks. But once you've made that move, you are going to be developing some amazing connections to people. And there is a gentleman in your future. I don't know if this is a love connection or a very, very close friend, but this person will be someone who changes your life tremendously and in a positive way.
I have a little dog, and he's sick, and that's why I took my time off of school to be with him.
So you want to know if the dog is, if your little dog is going to make it?
Yeah.
I think he will. I think he will. What's going on with him?
He has some heart issues and some issues with his throat and like asthma.
Okay, have you put him on the animal version of resveratrol yet?
He's on Theophylline.
Okay, go online and look it up. I think it's called
Resveratrol?
resveratrol or resveratrol. It's something very similar to that. The people version has grapeseed in it that doesn't work well for dogs. Although I have mine on it and she's been doing okay, the people version. but there is an animal version, and it helps the entire cardiovascular pulmonary system.
Okay.
Okay? But I do see him making it.
Oh, good.
Okay?
Okay, he's 10 years old, and I guess, yeah, because he's kind of young for this kind of thing.
I don't know, once an animal, and I'm not the pet psychic, okay? That's but once an animal gets to be maybe 9, 10 years old, depending on how it's lived its life, what's been going on in the environment around it, some animals just have a shorter lifespan than others too, and it's not, old age for one dog might be 9, old age for another dog is 17. And I know breeders say, oh, well, it goes according to the breed. Big dogs don't live as long as little dogs. That's not always true. I believe very much that animals take on the emotional stresses, the illnesses. They actually pull them from you because I've never met an animal yet that's not a healer. They just automatically do it.
Right.
You hurt, I'll take it. That's how they live their lives. And so animals that have been in stressful situations in their lifetimes or who have a lot of ill people around them may not live as long as animals that are, always in this super healthy situation with lots of kids. I had an experience last year. I was minding my father's dog, Bernie, and Bernie was 8 years old, and Bernie developed a condition where his kidneys were calcifying because of a congenital birth defect where the blood wasn't routing through the liver, and it gets very complicated. Bottom line is that Bernie was dying, and when I'm saying dying, it meant tomorrow he might be dead. And my new cleaning girl walked into my house, and I looked at her and I said, do you want a dog? And she said, oh, I love this dog. And I said, now mind you, he is dying. His kidneys are calcifying. And he could die tomorrow or he could die in 10 years. They're not able to say, but this is the condition. And if he dies, I'll pay for it. If you have to have a veterinarian in to see him, I'll pay for it. But he gets to live with you forever, right?
Mm-hmm.
She said, absolutely. She walked out the door with the dog. And guess what? The dog is still alive and the calcification is going away.
Oh, well.
Okay? Because she lives in a household filled with all of this joy, and guess what? Lots of little kids that I don't have. Okay? And also that my father didn't have. My father, who is probably the reason the dog was under the stress that produced that. Did all this make sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
one of the ways you can help your doggy is by putting him on that Resveratrol. Another way is by really not sitting there and saying, oh, don't leave, but saying, oh, let's play. You want a doggy bone? Let's go for a ride in the car. Let him do the things that bring the dog joy and don't put any emotional stress on him at all.
Okay, good. All right,
and let him play with kids. And maybe get him a puppy.
Well, I have another dog also. She's not a puppy, though.
You understand what I'm saying? A puppy. Something that brings a lot of life into the environment. I've seen that many times, too. Your dog, your cat is dying. They're on their last legs. You get another puppy, and all of a sudden your old dog is running around like they just got born again.
Okay.
So, at any rate, I'm not the pet psychic, but those are just some of my observations along the way. Good luck with your little one.
All right.
Okay?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Kayla, how do you feel about animals and things psychic?
Well, I love watching animals when they're at play and not paying attention to anything, and you see their true nature and their true aura, and it's so fun. I often tell people if they want to learn to see an aura, to first look at a dog or a cat, and especially a cat, if you go in a darkened room and you pet the cat, it emits kind of a greenish glow that for some people it's the first time they ever see an aura. But it's great because you can stare at your pet for a while when you were first learning to see auras and see they don't mind if you look at them for a long time, where humans get uncomfortable at times. So it's a great way to do it. But also, when I was young, I had a little dog I loved so much, and I had a dream that he was going to be taken. And I told my parents, and they thought I was just trying to get the dog to sleep inside. And I said someone was going to take the dog that night, and long story short, the next morning we got up and the fence had been broken into and someone took the dog. And I missed that little dog for so long, always thought about him. And A few years ago, I was with my sister somewhere, and she talked me into getting a puppy with her. And I brought this puppy home, and he has taken on all the characteristics of this dog I had in childhood. And over time, I realized I truly believe that is the same dog that came back again to me, just like we reincarnate, I believe. I believe pets can do the same and come back. And so I believe that dog that I loved in my childhood is back with me again, which is so fun.
Oh, I absolutely agree with you. I can't tell you how much I agree with you.
Mm.
I'm an animal lover, so I've always had dogs and cats around me, and I see them coming and going, and I see them coming back, and there's no doubt, because they'll have certain mannerisms that just are totally unique to them, and it could be 20 years before they come back again, but all of a sudden you see that animal that has that same exact characteristic, and it just, where else could it come from, you see?
Yes, and earlier today I was doing a reading for someone, and they wanted to know about someone that they loved on the other side, how they were. And the first thing I saw around that person was a dog with them. And it was a little hard for me. I didn't want to describe the dog because he wasn't the prettiest dog I've ever seen. He was very scruffy looking, and I'm a dog lover, but I didn't know how to say that to her. And so she said, "I know what you're trying to say. You can say it. He's ugly." And I didn't want to say, I said, well, let's call him Scruffy. But when I described him, she immediately knew, and that was their family dog that had passed. And it was so wonderful for her to see that it was with her family member over there, that they're waiting for us over there. And I think they come back to visit us as well, and stay with us on this side too, just like people do.
Sometimes, sometimes I think they're a lot wiser than we are.
Absolutely. Great teachers.
We talked before about following your feeling nature, and that's what animals are all about. They're all about that. We have only a couple of minutes left, and I want to make sure that we tell everybody how they can find you. So you have a website, exploringyourspirit.com.
Explore your spirit.
Explore Your Spirit. Thank you for that correction.
Sure.
And what's the best phone number for people to reach you out if they want to get a reading or find out about your classes?
Because I travel so much, I really just recommend people go to exploreyourspirit.com, and there's a contact form on there that follows me wherever I'm at, because I travel and teach a lot around the country, and I'll be in New Orleans now for the next couple of weeks. I'm filming a documentary there. So it's easier for me to find you with your number if you just fill out the contact form. And there's a listing on there of consultations, of the types of readings I do, oracle consultations, and business intuition as well, and places where I teach, whether I'm in your city coming to see you soon. I always list the dates there of all the events. Also online, I'm on Infinite Quest, like you mentioned, and do things here. I teach a course about the mystery schools on Daily Ohm with video and lessons there that you can study at your own pace, and travel and teach at Omega and Lilydale, Learning Annex, and many other places. The dates are all on there. So it really is kind of the hub to find me in one form or another. And of course, thank you so much for mentioning exploreyourspirit.com with the shows too. We have all the radio shows there on archives, over 350, and they're all free and available for download, and the new Explore Your Spirit TV. And we also have an app. So if you have an iPhone or iPad, you can download the app and listen to the shows, watch the shows, read the blog, everything we do, it's all available for the app, which is also for free as well.
Oh, that's absolutely amazing.